Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the complex and honestly completely revamped regulatory landscape of the Utah SNAP program. If you or someone you know relies on these benefits, understanding these new rules isn't just helpful, it is absolutely critical to keeping food on the table. So, I want you to think about this. Could a single can of soda or maybe submitting a form at exactly 5:01 p.m. literally cost you your groceries? Well, navigating state bureaucracy right now can feel a lot like a high-stakes survival scenario. A tiny, seemingly harmless mistake could actually sever your vital lifeline. You see, the Utah Department of Workforce Services, you probably know them as DWS, has just rolled out some massive regulatory shifts for 2025 and 2026. And these changes, they completely reshape how you apply, what you are legally allowed to buy, and the exact steps you absolutely must take to keep your case active. Here is our survival guide map for today. First, Utah SNAP basics. Second, the 2026 rule changes. Third, work requirements and ABAWDs. Fourth, the soft drink ban. And finally, recertification and appeals. All right, let's start with part 1, Utah SNAP basics, focusing on thresholds and tools. Take a look at that $2,887 gross limit for a household of 3. Generally speaking, you have to stay right under that line to qualify. But, and this is a really big exception, if your household includes someone 60 or older or an individual with a disability, they bypass that gross limit entirely. They only need to meet the lower net income limit, which gives them some much-needed flexibility after deductions. Now, your absolute central command center for all of this is the digital MyCase portal. You create a secure Utah ID, and from there, you can upload documents, report changes, and manage your whole case 24/7. It's highly, highly recommended to use this portal rather than just relying on snail mail if you want to keep your application moving smoothly. Listen, if you are facing severe financial distress right now, Utah does have an expedited track. If your gross monthly income is incredibly low, like under $150 with less than $100 in the bank, or if your rent and utilities cost more than your total income, the state can deliver food assistance within 7 days. They do this by temporarily relaxing the standard paperwork rules, basically just asking for proof of your identity up front. Moving right along to part 2, the 2026 rule changes and how to navigate the traps. Beware the 5 p.m. cutoff. Seriously, under these new rules, if you submit a document online, drop it in a physical box, or fax it at 5:01 p.m. on a Friday, state bureaucracy officially date stamps it for the next business day, Monday. If you're up against a hard deadline, that single minute could literally get your case closed. No joke. Another huge shift is the end of what they call self-attestation. Before late 2025, you could often just tell them what your rent or housing costs were. Well, scratch that. Not anymore. Now, if you fail to provide physical proof, like a signed lease, a landlord statement, or a mortgage bill, within 10 days of a request, the state just processes your case without your housing deductions, and that almost always results in a severe reduction in your monthly SNAP money. And here's a really important one regarding your utility benefits. In the past, if you got a state heat payment of just $20, it automatically maxed out your standard utility allowance, giving you a bigger deduction. Under the 2026 policy, that automatic link is completely severed. Standard households now have to manually report and prove their separate heating or cooling bills to get that same deduction. Okay, part 3, work requirements and ABAWDs. So what exactly is an ABAW? It stands for able-bodied adults without dependents. Basically, you're between 16 and 59, you're healthy, you don't have a doctor-diagnosed disability, and you don't have dependent kids living with you. If you fit that specific definition, the state severely restricts how long you can receive food assistance. For ABA wards, the clock is totally ticking. You are limited to just 3 months of SNAP benefits in a 36-month period. To keep your benefits flowing past that 90-day mark, you've got to prove you're working at least 20 hours a week, doing 20 hours of approved training, or a combination of both that adds up to 80 hours a month. But hey, there is a kind of hidden workaround here called the transitional exemption. Say you're working 18 hours a week, just shy of that 20-hour mandate. You can actually submit a request for a temporary exemption. This buys you up to 6 months of grace time to secure those extra hours without instantly losing your groceries. There are also some special exemptions you should definitely know about. Higher education students are generally entirely ineligible for SNAP, unless they're working 20 hours a week, doing work study, or caring for a dependent. On the flip side, AmeriCorps volunteers have a special carve-out under federal law.
Their specific living allowances do not count against their income limits at all. Pretty neat, right?
On to Part 4, the soft drink ban, stemming from House Bill 403.
This one is a real game changer. Point-of-sale registers across the entire state of Utah are now programmed to automatically decline your EBT card if you try to buy a defined soft drink. We're talking any carbonated flavored beverage sweetened with natural sugar or artificial sweeteners. It is banned. However, to protect basic dietary needs, things like milk, soy, or almond alternatives, and drinks with more than 50% real juice are explicitly allowed. If you try to buy something banned, you'll just have to use a different payment method at checkout.
Finally, Part 5, Recertification and Appeals, the final boss.
Knowing your specific review timeline is absolutely crucial. Standard households have to recertify every 6 months. Elderly and disabled households with no earned income go 12 months, and the ESAP program extends all the way to 3 years. But remember this lifesaver. If you miss your deadline and your case closes, you have a 30-day post-closure grace period. Get your paperwork in during those 30 days, and DWS can reopen your case and prorate your benefits without making you start a brand new application from scratch.
Now, what if you need to dispute a decision or a drop in benefits? You have a super strict 90-day window to request a fair hearing. And watch out for this huge technical trap. You cannot request this hearing through the My Case portal. You have to do it via a direct phone call, mail, or fax. Also, if they try to reduce your benefits mid-cycle, you only have 10 days to appeal if you want your benefits to stay at their current level while the judge reviews your case.
Once you finally navigate this absolute maze of rules, timelines, and verifications, your benefits hit your Horizon EBT card. To keep those funds secure, Utah enforces strict standards. You have to activate it with a secure, non-sequential PIN, so no 1234 or 1122. And keep that PIN safe. State staff will literally never ask you for it.
So we're going to leave you with this final thought. As the state balances program integrity with public accessibility, we have to ask, do these strict 5 p.m. cutoffs, mandatory physical verifications, and soft drink bans successfully eliminate fraud, or do they inadvertently build a wall too high for the most vulnerable to climb? It's a critical question to think about as these rules roll out. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and stay informed out there.